Now let's get the latest on Sheffield Wednesday. They have entered administration and the search is on for a new owner after a period of financial instability under Dejphon Chansiri, failing to pay wages on time in 5 of the last 7 months. Now we can speak to one of the people in charge of stabilising the club. Joint Administrator Paul Stanley joins us now. Paul, really good to have you on the show. Thanks for joining us. We spoke to you on the day that it was confirmed, and the feeling then was rather optimistic, in spite of what it means for the business and the club itself. After this weekend, what's the feeling like now for the future?
I think the feeling is the same. It's optimistic. We've had a lot of interest over the weekend from all over the world. Our problem now is obviously trying to condense that down to people who are serious and have got the money.
And how do you go about condensing that? Talk us through it for people that wouldn't know.
OK, so our solicitors have set up a data room that's got all the information that anyone who wants to buy the club in it, leases, contracts, numbers to do with where income comes from, what the expenses of running the club are, all sorts of information about the stadium. And then our solicitors will do a know your client type, money laundering type check on anybody that's interested. And we need to see proof of funds. And when we've got that, then they're allowed then to look at the data and people can then make offers. And then after that, when we get offers in and they're acceptable, people then need to be able to prove to the EFL that they are fit and proper. And there's an owners and directors test which they need to go through. And that includes them being able to show that they'll be able to run the club for the next 2 years.
Right, OK. Now, the administrators called for the fans to end their boycott, and the fans did answer that call in their droves against Oxford. Just how crucial are the supporters to help the club through what is still a relatively tough time?
Well, from our point of view, we've just got to take every day as it comes. So this week, obviously there's a game on Saturday, but Friday the wages are due. That's for playing staff and non-playing staff. Obviously, we don't inherit a pot of gold when we come into a situation like this. So it's absolutely critical that we get cash in to be able to pay the running costs of the club until we find a buyer. The supporters over the weekend were absolutely tremendous. From appointment, the club shop's been rammed with people. The crowd of nearly 27,000 people on Saturday was fantastic. And I know there's things planned for later this week where fans can come in and buy shirts and buy tickets for the next couple of home games, which will be Norwich and Sheffield United. But it's absolutely critical that the fans keep showing the support, just to show any prospective purchasers exactly what they're buying in terms of a fan base, which it talks for itself, I think.
Yeah, of course. Now, the business that owns the stadium has also been put into administration, which means that it could be sold at the same time as the club. Can you explain what difference that makes in terms of finding an owner?
So any person who wants to run a football club needs to be able to show the EFL that they've got security of tenure for 10 years. That means they either own the ground or they've got a minimum of a 10-year lease. Obviously, if we weren't in control of the stadium, and anyone buying the football club would have had to have done their own deal with the person that owns the stadium, and that then creates its own complications. So we've been appointed over the stadium company as well. Obviously, the stadium itself, without a football team in there, isn't going to be worth a great deal, and a football club without a stadium isn't worth a great deal. So if you put the two together, the end answer is something which is saleable and solves everybody's problems for running the club going forward.
You've mentioned the EFL a couple of times. How much is the EFL assisting you and the administrators during this process?
Well, the EFL are like a regulatory body, so they enforce the rules that the 72 clubs have voted on. And my relationship with the EFL is first class. I know Nick Craig and Trevor Birch, who are the two main people that I deal with. I've known them both a long time. Trevor Birch did my job effectively years ago, so he understands fully what my role is, and I understand what their role is. And I've got no complaints about the way the EFL behave and have been dealing with me. We've had a meeting this morning with the Supporters Trust and government regulators. So everything's moving in the right direction with them, and they'll be helpful as they always are.
That's great to hear, and also what you said about the future looking positive, but it has been a worrying time for players and staff, especially given the late payment of salaries. So how crucial is it then making sure that those are covered for the foreseeable future?
If you can't cover the costs, then obviously you're going to lose your staff. It creates a general feeling of unrest around the place. And that's our main focus this week. That's why we're encouraging fans to buy tickets, encouraging fans to buy merchandise at the club shop and merchandise when they come to the ground.
And there will be potential investors, Paul, keeping an eye across the situation. So what would your message be to them?
Well, there doesn't even need to be a message from me. I mean, everybody knows the club's been going well over 100 years. It's got a great history. It's one of the biggest cities in the UK, and probably the biggest city in the UK that it doesn't have a representation in the Premier League at the minute. And I think the potential there, certainly given the fan base and the history, is for all to see. So I think it's an ideal prospect for anyone who wants to buy a football club. I don't think it needs me to sell it. I think the club sells itself.
Well, I still think you did a great job there, Paul. Thank you ever so much for your time. Really appreciate it. And we hope to catch up with you soon.
Thank you.